to the channel. It's the Eradicator here, and we are going to talk about Battlefield 2042, guys. The gameplay trailer was revealed yesterday, and I was quite surprised. I did not expect something like this. I was expecting a modern Battlefield 6, maybe, or something that would happen perhaps during the Cold War, not something that would happen in the not so distant future. Right? I mean, 42, it's about 30, no, it's in 20 years actually, so not so distant future. And the price, a little bit expensive here, starts at about 60 US dollars here, all the way to $100 for the Ultimate Edition. Let's have a look at what all of this includes here. A 1 year pass including 4 specialists, which is 1 per season, 3 epic skin bundles. So looks like there are going to be some seasons with exclusive content that is typical EA. Unfortunately, that's already something that turns me off. Midnight Ultimate Bundle with some skins here, as well as the art book and a soundtrack. Plus also, if you pre-order it, you get a special takedown knife, a weapon charm here, whatever that is, and a player count background. No thank you. I think that's fine. What is this going to be about? It looks like this Battlefield is going to support 128 players. It is only going to be multiplayer. We will not have any single player campaign, unfortunately, which I think is a shame, because given the time period, there could have been so many interesting scenarios. But the devs did say that the sort of scenarios are going to be shared online, and that these are going to be revealed throughout the seasons and on the various different types of maps, and they are going to be based on environmental issues. So whether these are going to be lacks of resources, or maybe the weather changing, rendering the area unstable, perhaps, which is going to create some conflicts. And these are not really going to be your typical nations versus nations group, but more established orders versus environmentalists, which eventually will raise up and take arms to maybe try to change the world for the better. I am not a big fan of this social justice environmentalist thing. It's like Greta Thunberg is going to and her followers are going to take some weapons and fight against the established order. I am not a big fan of that, especially since unfortunately, and I know that very well because I live in Taiwan, geopolitical conflicts are far from being over, and there can be a World War III happening maybe very soon over flashpoints such as, for example, Taiwan or Iran, right? So the traditional wars between nations can still very well happen. And I believe that here CIG decided to play it safe because, of course, they want to be selling that game around the world, especially the big, juicy China market. And they do not want to, depict a future in which the world is at war against China, which is something that can very well be happening. And we see some world rhetoric around the world getting a little bit tougher and stronger and more dangerous. But instead, they are going to focus here on environmental issues. As I said before, 128 players with maps as various as Egypt, South Korea, Seoul in South Korea, Singapore, which makes me very excited. Apparently French Guiana, which is a French colony in South America, is also going to be a map. There's a space center there, and apparently you are going to be able to maybe stop some rockets. It's going to create some destruction. Destruction is going to be a thing in the Battlefield 2042, so much so that they are also going to include storms such as sandstorms or even tornadoes. Let's have a look at the trailer, and I'm also going to give you my thoughts on what we're seeing here. This is probably not the Antarctica map. I have no idea. Maybe that is in India, in the Himalaya, because that would make sense. There are some serious conflicts between India and China, but unfortunately it's not going to be the case here, because they did say that it is not going to be nations versus nations. But I think that here EA is really missing on a hell of an opportunity to talk about some of the various conflicts and how that are happening right now, and how they could degenerate into actual full-scale conflicts. There we go. Looks like eventually we're gonna have some parachute action coming in Battlefield 2042, and also that suit here, flight suit, that's going to make you make you fly, or at least glide in the air. That is going to be quite interesting too. Another futuristic weapon that we can see. This is like inspired from the Boston Dynamics dog robots, and we're going to see those machines that are going to be driven by AI in the battlefield as well. By the way, speaking of that, I don't know if you guys saw that there was a news the other day about AI making its first kill without a human order. This is something that happened in Libya. An AI that was supposedly commanded by Turkish forces, and it killed a soldier without a direct order. This is the scary future towards which we are going into, and it will be depicted here in Battlefield 2042. I have the tanks of the future as well, next generation tanks in some kind of harbor. And it looks like there's going to be a conflict here as parts of this cargo ship is being opened. And this is a great strategy, by the way, because now the world is still interconnected between various all the nations around the world do some trade, and you can have cargo ships coming from one place of the one place of the world to the other. It is a great strategy to invade a country. Bring in all the soldiers in those container ships. And then, when the time is right, you get all the soldiers in the container ships that can start an invasion. It's very safe, stealthy, very sneaky, and can be very effective. I like what I'm seeing here. And this is definitely going to provide with some great close quarter combat, which is personally in combat games, this is what I like the most. I'm not a big fan of open maps, but close quarter combat like this in tight corridors is what I like the most. Oh my goodness. And next, it could be two things. It could be the Antarctica, as they said, but it could very well be the Arctic, and it could be one of those two polar zones. And this is one of the areas where people do expect there may be conflicts in the future, because we do know that these two areas, first, they are going to melt, so they are going to be far more habitable than they are right now in the future. And on top of that, there are lots of untapped resources that could be exploited by big superpowers like the United States, Russia, even China thinks that it is an Arctic country, even though they don't have any land or any borders in the Arctic region. So definitely an area in which powerful nations are going to want to claim, and they are going to want to tap these resources here, and it will, potentially lead to some conflicts. I'm glad that this is being pictured in this game. Some really cool looking tanks too. So this is that I was talking about, the supposedly map that will take place in French Guiana. Why would there be there? It's also happening in French Guiana is in the Amazon region. There could be many different types of conflicts, saving the Amazon, taking control of the spaceport, or simply freeing French Guiana from the French occupation, right? Because it's still one of those. It's one of those rare areas around the world that has not been decolonized, and there's still a French colony in South America. That is crazy, but it's the reality of today's world. So I read that it's going to be possible to make the engines fail and have the rocket explode on the ground, causing tremendous destruction too. Speaking of destruction, looks like there are going to be quite a few urban theaters of war. Of course, it wouldn't be Battlefield without the vehicles, so it's not just going to be ground vehicles, but air vehicles too, with a variety of different helicopters, but not just helicopters, airplanes as well. Now, that is a pretty cool scene here. Yeah, definitely the people in vehicles are going to have an edge. Now, sometimes I think that the trailer is a little bit cheesy. As you can see, I'm not sure if this is something that will be possible to do in the game. And then sometimes people do some really crazy things in video games, and we get to see the clips on Facebook, right, or on YouTube. Now, this is also quite awesome. I really hope that flying, it will be possible to fly with a joystick or, you know, a HOTAS, so that we can have the best experiences possible. I'm not sure there's going to be much dogfight like this in the future because, well, you know, already like this, it's more about missile versus missile. This is also very cheesy. I don't. Who is going back? What are the odds of successfully pulling such a maneuver? That's just insane. Now, there's one thing that I would say to complain here is that this environment here, the world that we are seeing, unfortunately, in this Battlefield 2042 seems very gloomy. And I feel like I'm a bit tired of dystopian future. I want to believe that the future can possibly be bright and something that future generations may be able to enjoy. Sure, we're screwing up a lot of things around the world, but I don't want to believe that it's always going to be this bad. And this is also something that, you know, I kind of have a problem with, right? Also, what are the odds of having a tornado in the middle of the city and a fight happening at the same time? This, to me, this is a little bit cringy what we're looking at here. But anyway, there it is, guys. Battlefield 2042. No single player, no campaign. Price at $60 US. Some people's reported $70 US. I guess that it depends on which in which country you are. I guess we're gonna have to wait for the gameplay reveal, which is coming up on June 13th. So very soon. I think it's obviously going to be during the E3, which we will be covering in this channel. I don't know, please let me know in the comment section down below. Were you impressed by the trailer? Does it make you want to buy the game? Have you already pre-purchased the game, or are you going to pass? I think as far as I'm concerned, I'll just wait and see. Some aspects seem pretty cool, like the rocket that can be destructible, or, you know, fighting over Antarctica. That's awesome. There's a lot of urban environments, which I'm not a big fan of, and that tornado here is really cheesy. Plus, only 7 maps. That is not a lot, but it's made by DICE. DICE likes to make very beautiful environments, like we've seen in the Battlefront series. But unfortunately, there is not much meat on the bone. Anyway, that's all for this video, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll definitely have more coverage on Battlefield 2042. This is the Eradicator. I'll see you guys later. This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks, such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.